With Helldivers 2, Sony has a massive success on their hands. So it is baffling to see how they managed to turn it into something which is, amongst industry insiders, described as a big oof. Sony managed to turn Helldivers 2 into a case study of how to create a communication disaster and managed to demonstrate that when people unite and work towards a common goal, a lot can be accomplished. To lean into Helldivers terminology, democracy has been victorious. At least to some extent. And now that some time has passed and the dust has settled, we can have a calmer look at what happened. Though I kinda assume that if you clicked on this video, you roughly know what happened. But just to be sure that we're all on the same page, here's a quick rundown of what happened. At the behest of Sony, Arrowhead, the developer of Helldivers 2, announced that linking your Steam profile to a PlayStation Network account would become mandatory for all new players immediately and for all existing Helldivers 2 players by June 4th. Without a PlayStation account, you would no longer be able to play the game, which is admittedly mildly annoying. But the need for a PlayStation account has further ramifications which apparently nobody at Sony thought about. Because in over 170 countries, PlayStation is not operating with their online network, and therefore a lot of players cannot, or rather are not allowed, to register, meaning they can no longer access the game which they have purchased. People were understandably pissed. They refunded the game. Steam lifted the refund limitations, countless negative reviews were written, and people vented their grievances on all available platforms. Following this massive backlash, Sony/Arrowhead announced that the obligation to register was removed. So now that we are all on the same page, I have to say, what a shit show, and how easily this could have been avoided is just amazing. Because, well, just to play devil's advocate for a moment, if they had the PSN sign-up requirement from the very beginning, people would have rolled their eyes and moved on. But man, they screwed this up. I mean, I get it. Sony funded the development of Helldivers 2. They want to get these customers into their own ecosystem, not only into Steam, but I'm sorry guys, you chose the worst possible way. And with that, my sympathy for Sony ends. It is unknown to us, the public, who decided that this is now the best time to link to the PlayStation account. Because if some posts from the mod team and the community managers like Twinbeard are to be believed, this was all decided by Sony. Unfortunately, we don't know whether this is all correct, but some of the tweets by Pilstead, back then the CEO of Arrowhead, indicated that Sony acted on its own initiative. Pilstead mentioned in a Twitter thread that mandatory linking with a PSN account was planned from the beginning, just that due to server problems it was temporarily suspended. This resulted in poor communication. The requirement to link to a PSN account sometime in the future was in the fine print from the get-go. But nobody reads the fine print, especially if linking your Steam account to the PSN is optional in the beginning. Barely anyone would expect them to come back and to turn around and enforce it then. The outrage was pre-programmed. You know that Humans Sent iPad episode of South Park? Yeah, they kinda created a situation like that, and just like Kyle on the show, people were super stoked about it.
By clicking agree, you are also acknowledging that Apple may show your mouth to the butthole of another iTunes user.
Oh boy.
Apple and its subsidiaries may also, if necessary, show yet another person's mouth onto your butthole, making you a being that shares one gastral tract. I'm gonna click on decline.
It should have been clear to anyone who has the faintest knowledge of how the internet, gamers, or people feel about this stuff in general. If you force something annoying onto people, they are going to voice their discontent. However, taking away something from tens of thousands of people, some of whom have spent hundreds of hours on that particular thing, thereby being deeply invested in it, well then, people are not just feeling discontent, they're outright pissed. Especially if you take away something that people have paid good money for. Helldivers 2 is a game that has broken several records. It is praised by practically all sides and has built such a close, cooperative and rather supportive community. They have even managed to bridge the gap between PlayStation and PC players to a point where the fanboys agree that the game should also appear on Xbox. I mean, these fanboy console wars are stupid in general, but this community has managed to overcome that. And that's not easy for gamers. Because we gamers are usually pretty big idiots who like to fight about absolutely stupid stuff. So in true gamer fashion, we rioted. Virtually, of course. Imagine the combined forces of Gondor and Rohan marching up to the gates of Mordor, aka the Sony headquarters. Countless articles have been written, big and well-known YouTubers, streamers and the likes have reported on it. Helldivers 2 was review bombed into the ground, and the community has even written entire songs about the incident. It went so far that even Pilstead and other Arrowhead employees encouraged players to vent their anger. And I can't decide whether Arrowhead is incredibly cool for that, or if they just wanted to throw Sony under the bus and, well, pass along the blame. In the end, Sony gave in, whether it was because of the backlash from the community, that Steam granted refunds despite hundreds of hours of playtime, whether Arrowhead talked some sense into them, or because they were afraid of being sued for breaking laws in multiple countries. We don't know. It's probably a combination of all of those things. But they caved, and that's good. Who would have guessed that the community of a game which primed its player base to act towards a singular goal could raise such a fuss, huh? And although I celebrate the victory over Sony, it was only a partial victory. This is something many people forget. If you own Helldivers, you can play it even if you do not set up a PSN account. But if you live in a country where the PSN is not available, you cannot purchase it. These potential new players are still locked out. So when I plunge into certain death for democracy again, it is not without a certain taste. For totally unrelated reasons, this would be a great spot for a VPN sponsorship, wouldn't it? Well, we don't have one, so let me tell you, we do have a Patreon, so you can become our sponsor. I'll tell you a bit more about that in the end of the video, so I'd be tremendously grateful if you stuck around. Now we need to talk about Arrowhead and us, the community. Some of Arrowhead's mods have, let's say, overreacted a bit. I know it's not the right thing to do, but the mods and community managers are also only human. And when you see years of your hard work and tattoos, even though it's not your fault, and you are being attacked by countless people at the same time for something that's not your fault, yeah, you snap. The main author of this video, Lone, worked in customer service jobs for over 5 years, and to quote him, "In those 5 years I have become unprofessional twice, after a massive onslaught of dicks." So that's why we cut the moderators some slack. But regardless of that, especially towards the higher-ups, like Mr. Pilstead, I know you'll probably never watch this video, but answering "I don't know" to a question from a concerned customer who wouldn't be able to play the game because of the changes you announced, because he lives in a country where there is no PlayStation Network, well, telling him "you don't know"? That's very unprofessional, especially for a CEO. It kind of showed how helpless they were in the face of Sony. And at least, he was honest. And speaking as someone who is by definition a gamer, some of us have clearly gone too far. Review bombing? Okay, I can understand that for the game in question, but review bombing other games, be it Sony's or Arrowhead's? That's simply the wrong target. Threats of any kind are an absolute no-go. Something like that has simply no place, and is also very counterproductive to any constructive discourse. This simply poisons the well and harms us, because it can provide an easy excuse to just dismiss all legitimate criticism because it is transmitted alongside a bunch of verbal abuse. And then they don't do anything because they can set this up as a shield. And one more thing I want to mention. It is once again fascinating how many fanboys have jumped out of their holes to defend Sony. This applies to all corporate bootlickers, regardless of whether it is Sony, Microsoft, Apple, Activision, Blizzard, and even Valve. It doesn't disturb me if you like to bend over and take it dry, because you want to cuck yourself to some company, as if you're in some findom relationship with some faceless corporation. Keep that stuff personal. It doesn't mean you have to shit all over other people's valid concerns. Imagine you sit there on your computer in the Philippines, or any of these other countries scrolling by. You get the news that you'll be unable to play one of your favorite games very soon because Sony just had an idea. And then some dickhead comes along and lectures you on how Sony is actually really dope and you shouldn't say anything. Stop defending faceless billion-dollar corporations that don't give a damn about you. They see consumers, like you, only as walking wallets. And in what feels like a premature ending to the controversy, Pilstead stepped down as the Arrowhead CEO. I guess it was too much of a fuss for him, and I guess I can't blame him. But for some reason, this feels like an end to the whole mess, even though not all of it has been resolved. A lot of time has passed since the first draft of this video and the recording session. So, here is the original positive ending, and afterwards we'll go to the real one. I wanted to end this video with something positive, which was that at least we won this battle. And then I went on to say that I don't think that this whole fiasco will hurt Helldivers 2's image in the long run. On the contrary, I believe that the scar will actually look good on its reputation, because Arrowhead has proven that they just really want to make a good game, and that they care about their community. They will even release a cape with the Steam reviews as a reminder of this battle. How freaking awesome is that? And scars are cool, you know, nicks and burns and scratches show the young ones you are tough. And yeah, they shook hands with danger. And maybe, just maybe, Helldivers 2 will be a precedent, a sign for all future gamers to see that you can fight for your rights and win. You know the saying, vote with your wallet. And in this case, we did. It worked, with refunds and good old unmanaged democracy. This is why I will now change my review again to a positive one. I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
Is what I wanted to say, but, well, this happy end has shit stains. Sony, F you. For real, screw you. I left the positive ending in the script to show you that I was fooled as well. They said all is going to be resolved, that this was just a stupid mistake. But somehow they forgot to make the game available again in all those 170 countries, where you cannot create a PSN account legally without VPN, and that is risky because it's against the terms of use. Those cheeky bastards are trying to ride it out. They will introduce the account restrictions sooner or later, at least for new players. And those unfortunate people who live in areas without the PSN, well, they are a collateral damage, an acceptable loss. And we will forget about it sooner or later, since a lot of those regions, well, not that many people live there in the first place, and in a lot of those regions, English isn't the first language, so the likelihood of you hearing about their complaints is pretty low, and Sony knows that. If the American and European market doesn't riot, well, who has really rioted, I guess? I changed my review back to negative again. This is really sad, because the underlying game is amazing. Helldivers 2 is a great game in pretty much every regard. In a way, it really pains me to not play my favorite game out of protest. If I decide to return, well, it will be with a sour taste. Helldivers 2 has been one of my favorite games in I guess a decade. So, Sony, get your shit together. It's great that you're moving to the PC and all, and that this game is making you so much money, and I guess therefore you will stay on the PC with all your future games. But man, get your shit together. So, what do you think about this whole controversy? Have you changed your review? Positive or negative? Do we just agree to disregard 170 countries and say, well, it's a collateral damage? Share your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'm really curious what you guys are thinking. And if you enjoyed this video, you know what I would like you to do. Give this video a like, subscribe for future content, and if you absolutely love what we do, why not consider supporting us on Patreon, as our supporters there got to see this video well before anyone else. And all of our lovely supporters are the people you see scrolling by right now. A tremendous thank you to all of them. So, see you guys next time. Until then, have a nice day, and as always, goodbye and guten Tag.